Hi, good evening everybody. My name is John Browning and I am Workforce Skills Manager for Buckinghamshire Business First. Very exciting to be here this evening, not just because of the illustrious audience and the speakers we've had this evening, and what a fantastic event it's been. Thank you very much, Robert, for inviting us along. But also I grew up around here and I used to pass by the gates of these very studios on my way to primary school every day, and this is the first time I've ever been in. So I'm just going to give you a quick overview of where we are with the Local Skills Improvement Plan, or LSIP to its friends, and what we're doing over the next few months to complete the plan for Buckinghamshire. For those who don't know, Buckinghamshire Business First is a not-for-profit organisation. We work very closely with the Buckinghamshire Local Enterprise Partnership. We deliver the Growth Hub and the Skills Hub for Buckinghamshire, and we provide a range of business support services for Buckinghamshire businesses. We're a membership organisation. We have 14,000 business members in Buckinghamshire. And my role at BBF is to provide businesses with support for their training and skills needs. Over the past 2 years, we've collaborated with the Buckinghamshire LEP to develop the Buckinghamshire Local Skills Report, which provides an analysis of the local skills market and the skills needs for Buckinghamshire. It's downloadable from our website. It's a great read. I urge you to take a look at it. What I thought I'd start off by doing just quickly is explaining what a local skills improvement plan is. So just very quickly, it is the government's blueprint for reshaping post-16 technical education and skills system to better meet the needs of employers. It's intended to be employer-led. The government talks about placing employers at the heart of the skills system, where of course they should be. It requires local areas to identify and agree a set of actionable priorities which will drive change. And they hope that LSIPs will facilitate new dynamic working relationships between employers, training and education providers. We've spoken a lot about that this evening, so it's great to hear some of that now coming out. And we have to produce our report to the Secretary of State by the 31st of May this year. It is a 3-year plan. What are we seeking to change? Well, all post-16 technical education and training is in scope. This means provision which leads to skilled employment, draws its purpose from the workplace rather than from an academic discipline. So this includes apprenticeships, vocationally related qualifications, BTEC, City and Guilds, those kinds of things. Short courses like certifications, for example, that certain industry sectors will have. Higher technical qualifications, a lot of talk you may have heard about higher technical qualifications, kind of redressing the balance. Higher education's been very successful at attracting people onto academic courses. Hopefully higher technical qualifications will attract more people into vocationally related qualifications. Also degree apprenticeships, quietly causing a little revolution in higher education. But it also includes non-accredited provision that can either be publicly or privately funded. And this is not just about better opportunities for young people. We'll also be looking at issues affecting skills development for the existing workforce. Now I can already hear the sceptical amongst you saying, how is this different from previous skills initiatives? And I think there is a real difference. First of all, it's local. So although this is a national initiative, it's being implemented on a local basis. Previous skills initiatives, like apprenticeship reform, for example, or the implementation of T-levels, have been carried out at a national level. The LSIP is a local plan based on local employer skills needs. Secondly, it comes with some genuine teeth. There will be a thing called the Local Skills Improvement Fund introduced this year for providers to make the changes which are suggested in the Local Skills Improvement Plan. And the new Skills and Post-16 Education Act places a duty on providers to take account of the LSIP under new things called accountability agreements, and progress against these will be monitored by Ofsted. Some genuine teeth behind the proposals that are coming out. So it's a fantastic opportunity to drive change locally. Now then, in developing our plan for Buckinghamshire, there are a few key things we must consider. Number one, we can't do everything. Post-16 education and training is a massive area. We can't do everything. So we must focus on the areas where the biggest impact can be made. So that would mean focusing on specific industry sectors or specific skills themes, like maybe digital skills. We must also consider that not all skills shortages are caused by shortcomings in post-16 education and training. We can't do anything about issues under the Local Skills Improvement Plan. We can't do anything about issues related to pay, conditions, those kinds of things. It is purely about changes to post-16 education and training. We've also got to think about developing learner demand. There's been some talk about that this evening. As well as understanding employer needs, we've got to encourage young people and encourage people generally to take up technical and vocational education. We've also got to think about how it affects SEND learners and those people who are furthest from the workplace. There's been a lot of talk about diversity this evening, which is great. Buckinghamshire Business First's role in producing the LSIP is to bring together the employers and the providers, to provide the labour market research and analysis, to produce the Local Skills Improvement Plan report, and then work with our neighbouring LSIP areas where needed on issues of common concern. Our job then will be to support the delivery of the plan and keep it under review. So this brings me on to where we are in terms of the priorities for Buckinghamshire. And the first step in developing our Local Skills Improvement Plan obviously will be to understand which industry sectors and which skills themes we need to prioritise. Those priority sectors were established by mapping the sectors with the highest unemployment, the biggest impact on the local economy. We also looked at those sectors which are included as growth sectors in the local industrial strategy, the strategic economic plan, and Buckinghamshire Council's recovery and growth proposal, of course, and the levelling up plans. We also looked at cross-cutting skills needs, so soft skills have been mentioned this evening, IT and digital skills, customer-related skills, those kinds of things. And we also will be looking at cross-sectoral developments, so in particular the drive for sustainability, net zero and digitalisation. So as a result of this work, we have identified 5 priority sectors for Buckinghamshire and 3 cross-sector skills themes. And these are construction. I'm sure you'll be aware that there are some major infrastructure projects going on in the county at the moment, causing major skills shortages in that sector. Engineering, almost 20% of the Bucks economy is in engineering and manufacturing, and we have almost no engineering provision in the county. Need to do something about that. Digital. Digital is a very significant influence in Buckinghamshire with skills shortages across a number of sectors, driven by the adoption of new technologies, and the pace of change is not being matched by the uptake of digital education. So that's a key sector for us to look at. Health and social care, another important sector, largest employer in the county, probably the largest employer in most LSIP areas to be fair, but it's got acute recruitment and retention difficulties. And then finally we've identified the film and TV sector, you'll be glad to hear. And then our cross-cutting themes include digital skills, work readiness. This is something that came out very strongly in our local skills report, that people coming out of education were not work ready. We've got to understand what we mean by that and what we can do about it. Okay then, so if we look at the film and TV sector, employs approximately 3,000 people in Buckinghamshire, which is only 1.3% of Buckinghamshire's workforce, but the sector is the highest growing in the past 5 years of any sector in Buckinghamshire. And of course that does not include those people who are self-employed. And Buckinghamshire has a large number of self-employed people, and a large proportion of those work in film and TV. Also, of course, all the new jobs that are being created by all the things we've talked about this evening, new developments that are going on, the expansion of Pinewood, 4,000 new jobs. If Marlow gets the go-ahead, maybe 4,000 new jobs. Then there's expansion in other areas as well, potential studios in High Wycombe, and then neighbouring areas, Sunset Studios, Shepperton Studios, Sky Studios at Elstree, Shinfield, you know, the list goes on. Some of these are just proposals, of course, but the direction of travel is pretty clear, isn't it? A massive need for skills in this sector. So we've started looking at this. We've started bringing together employers and providers to see what the skills needs are, what can we do about it. It was really interesting to hear Gareth talking earlier on about some of those, you know, some of those are the conversations that we'll be having in Buckinghamshire too. And a wide range of occupations with suffering from skills shortages have been identified in production, virtual production, visual effects, post-production. In fact, over 40 occupations currently identified where then there are skills shortages, and we'll need to get together and agree where the key priorities are so that we can focus on those as part of our local skills improvement plan. Obviously, whatever solution does come out of the local skills improvement plan, it needs to align with national activities, such as the skills strategy, the BFI hubs, as well as the careers activities and training solutions that are going on locally. It also needs to be aligned with our neighbouring LSIPs, and we'll be having conversations with them because, you know, around here they have similar skills needs. But there is a fantastic opportunity in Bucks to pilot some solutions to some of the issues we've been talking about this evening, perhaps hothouse some of those ideas. And some of the ideas that are coming out of the discussions that we've had so far include you know, creating some sort of a hub to bring together employees, freelancers, bring the employers and the providers together in some way, maybe a bit like the way that the Health and Social Care Academy has done in Buckinghamshire. So it's very interesting to hear what David Sines was saying earlier on. Competence frameworks, one of the things that Gareth mentioned, that's coming out of our discussions. How can we help people navigate their way through a sector, identify what skills they've got and what roles they could be taking up. How we co-opt in-house training with training which is provided locally. Making available provision for line managers in good people management skills, that was mentioned earlier on too. Develop good working practices in the sector. Maximising career guidance, that came out earlier on, I was interested to hear. Very, very important that young people can understand what the entry points are into the sector and their way through. And then another thing that came out earlier on, which is rethinking the way apprenticeships work. Perhaps looking at the funding, perhaps looking at the kind of model that we use, perhaps a more flexible model around apprenticeships, and maybe something which aligns more closely to the way people really enter the sector, perhaps as runners maybe. We could also look at existing skills initiatives that are underway, like skills boot camps. These are designed to enable people to transfer from one sector to another, and you can automatically see ways that that might work for film and TV, you know, maybe from the construction sector into set building, maybe from beauty into makeup, and lots of different ways we can get people to transfer into the sector. These are all things that we're going to be working on in the local skills improvement plan. There's a lot of work still to do, and I should emphasise that the local skills improvement plan is a process as well as a plan. And I look forward to having many discussions with as many of you as we can during the course of developing it. So thanks very much for listening.